swear to God, today was not the day to go with the system.
System, cousin.
Hey, I don't care. I do not care what you do up in Napa with your tweezers and your foie gras. You got no idea what you're doing here.
As an actor, Ebon Moss-Bachrach is almost uncategorizable. I don't know about you guys, but my very first impression of Ebon was playing the abrasive, frustratingly immature Cousin Richie in The Bear. I just associated Ebon with this guy so much, I just thought, oh, this guy must be similar to Cousin Richie, I bet he's from Chicago. Who is this guy? Then I went through his career and I read his interviews, and not only was I surprised at the spectrum of different characters he's played, but I began to develop an immense respect and admiration for him. He's a guy who never expected to blow up like he has recently. I mean, you got the Emmy win for The Bear, he was part of the extremely well-received Star Wars series Andor, and he's playing the Thing in Fantastic Four. Before all this, Ebon was satisfied with his place in film and television, grateful for any job that came his way.
Richie, no surprise!
Yes, surprise! Feliz cumpleaños a ti.
And I just want to take a moment to thank everyone for watching and supporting this channel. Plus a huge special thanks to everyone over on our Patreon. Check it out if you're interested. We have early previews of new episodes and even a behind-the-scenes podcast. As a New York City native, Ebon was involved in plenty of theater when he was younger, and in his early 20s, he started nabbing supporting roles in film and television, sharing the screen with Gene Hackman as a bellboy in the Royal Tenenbaums.
Who is it, Frederick?
A Mr. Pagoda?
Directing an MTV music video in American Splendor.
Watch where you're going. Travis, who the is this on my set?
And as a Jewish restaurant worker, he had to deal with a group of neo-Nazis in the drama The Believer.
You guys want cheese that badly? There's a pizza place right next door. You can go there.
Okay. It's stupid though, right? I mean, admit that it's stupid.
No. I won't admit it's stupid.
Wow, he's popped up in films that we've covered in other videos. He keeps crossing over into our YouTube channel's cinematic universe. In a 2003 interview for Index magazine, Ebon expands on these jobs. Quote, "It is difficult. You're a day player. You walk onto a set with all these actors and 50 crew members, and you're not sure what the tone of the movie is. You're just in and out." Also, while Ebon was knocking around New York, he appeared in 3 different Law & Orders. Now, if you're a guest star on Law & Order, you're either a victim in the opening scene,
Hey, take it easy. It's cool.
a cooperative or reluctant witness who could be a suspect,
Would you submit a DNA swab?
Never.
Why not?
It's the ultimate invasion of privacy.
or you did something bad and you get the old dun-dun.
Justin's yelling at her and he starts threatening her with his gun.
Turns out, Ebon did all 3. It always makes me smile when I do these videos and an actor was in an episode of Law & Order. It's almost a rite of passage for up-and-coming actors. Ebon actually referred to it as, quote, New York acting school. Ebon also started landing film roles, and they're like all over the place. They're shockingly different from each other. From one role to the next, I kept getting whiplash. In the period drama Mona Lisa Smile, he played Charlie Stewart, an earnest, kind of nerdy love interest.
My parents say my future is right on the horizon.
Tell them that the horizon is an imaginary line that recedes as you approach it.
In the Vroom Vroom Fast Planes action movie Stealth, he played tech expert Tim, who helps engineer jets that are integrated with an ever-evolving AI system.
Ever since the lightning strike, he's just been writing all of this, I don't know, a language or a code.
And in The Lake House, he played Henry, an architect and supportive brother to Keanu Reeves' character.
Hey, come on. This is a good thing. You know, you need a real woman.
Ebon's like a Swiss Army knife. He's fixing all sorts of things for the plot or the characters. He's like glue, getting them from point A to point B. In the Jason Biggs comedy Wedding Daze, he played Matador, an eccentric restaurant worker and aspiring circus performer, I think?
Gentlemen, observe.
He's got this odd, soft-spoken demeanor. He's got eyeliner. He's just like a fun wild card character.
This is my Discman. Did you take this from my drawer?
Yes, I did.
And a character like this is especially fun when they surprise you and become an unexpected source of empathy and wisdom.
The circus is a lot like love.
Oh, how so?
Well, if it's a good one, if it's a really good one, it's beautiful and terrifying and magical all at the same time. And you wouldn't give up on the circus just because once in a while a girl falls off the high wire, snaps her neck.
Conversely, he was much more down-to-earth as Sarah Michelle Gellar's brother in Suburban Girl. He does give her some grief for dating a guy twice her age.
How old were you when Brett was in 3rd grade?
But is nevertheless there for her when she needs him.
If you ever need to talk to anyone about anything, I could try and manufacture something that sounds lucid.
Switching back to TV, I mean, he's everywhere. He worked consistently. He was great at being terrified in an episode of Fringe, in which, after being experimented on, can affect electricity around him, and he just keeps accidentally hurting people.
I didn't want to hurt anybody.
We're going to help you.
That's what they said. Please, I want to go home.
He got to reunite with Paul Giamatti. He keeps coming up in these videos. Good old Paulie G.
I'm not drinking any Merlot.
When he played his son, John Quincy Adams, in the miniseries John Adams.
Do not worry, Father. I know my duty as an Adams. But I am sorry you did not see fit to consult me on the decision.
And because the miniseries takes place over kind of a long period of time, it's interesting to see him go from John's young and impressionable son, reluctant to carry the torch into politics like his father, to years later when he becomes president.
In my State of the Union address, I intend to propose a strengthening of the federal government. We need to raise taxes.
Then after shows like Damages and Rubicon, he got his first starring role in the horror film Come Out and Play. So this couple, they go on vacation to this remote, lavish tropical island, and all the kids have just lost their minds and started killing the adults. It's like maybe a Children of the Corn thing, I guess?
These little kids, they had tied him up, and they slaughtered him.
This was a film that Ebon didn't really want to do. He said he wasn't a fan of horror films. But after being convinced to take it on and shooting the first day, he had a great time, just helping make this movie as demented and gory as possible. Also, just a side note here, I have to mention this. The director of this movie goes only by the name Makinov and perpetually wears a hood over his face to conceal his identity. This is a clip from a screening of the film where he just delivered some kind of manifesto to the audience. It's like he's sending Batman a riddle. Ebon mentioned in an interview that Makinov's hood came off at some point while they were shooting on a boat, and Makinov just immediately dove into the water and continued directing with his back to everybody. That's a big bowl of weird right there. Then came Ebon's second starring role in a movie that has never seen the light of day, Gods Behaving Badly. He played Neil, who goes toe-to-toe with Greek gods as he descends into Hades to save his girlfriend. The only footage I have found that exists of this movie was a scene on Vimeo featuring unfinished visual effects in which Ebon faces off against Cerberus.
They're tasty cakes. Butterscotch.
The whole thing, he's trying to get past Cerberus to get into Hades, and he keeps offering tasty cakes, and Cerberus loves the tasty cakes, and he's like, "Oh, get you some more." There's like a lot of time spent talking about tasty cakes. This makes me think it was like a sponsorship that didn't really blossom. The whole movie's based on a book, which is actually a great book. I read it, and it would have been a fun movie, I think. Christopher Walken played Zeus, for God's sake. And when I first heard about it, I was floored that it was never released, but, you know, with recent films like Batgirl or Coyote vs. Acme being shelved, I guess it's unfortunately becoming a common thing. Then right around 2012, another maybe pattern started to emerge in Ebon's career. Eccentric boyfriends. And I dare say, in this category, Ebon may be at his funniest. In the comedy drama Lola Versus, starring Greta Gerwig, she goes on one date with this guy, Nick, after meeting him at a deli counter. He seems classy, kind of dashing, but the red flags start to pile up.
There's something wonderfully feline about you.
Meow.
Then when they get to the bedroom, it's just, Ebon's comedic timing here is phenomenal.
Oh, I really like your knees. No, wait. Yeah, I really like your knees.
And he has a shockingly big penis, apparently.
I was an incubator baby. The incubator, it made my penis bigger than the other kids.
Cut to 2014, he played Guillaume, an obnoxious love interest and foil to the main character who loses his composure when his priceless violin gets stepped on in We'll Never Have Paris. But the eccentric boyfriend character he's probably most well known for is Desi in the HBO series Girls. Every time I revisit clips of this show, I'm surprised by how much I don't hate it. So as aspiring musician Desi, he meets Allison Williams' character Marnie, and the two start a singer-songwriter relationship.
We've been through this before.
It's actually not bad.
This is really beautiful. You have a gift for this. You're a wordsmith.
Originally a strictly platonic arrangement, the two begin to have a passionate love affair despite Desi already having a girlfriend. I was blindsided by how his character changed and developed throughout the series. So when you first meet him, he's a chill dude, right? He gets along with everyone, he's a good guitar player and singer. I mean, yeah, he's the kind of guy that would break out the guitar at the party, but I don't know, he's just so affable, he's nice, and he's supportive of Marnie's aspirations to be a musician.
See, attempts, don't do that. Seriously, don't deprecate yourself. Really, you're better than that.
Then, when he finally rips the Band-Aid off and breaks up with his current girlfriend for Marnie, the wheels start to come off as well.
I definitely dumped her. Can we not use that word? It's so violent, you know?
I love this unintelligible noise he makes when he cries, and Allison's reaction is hysterical. So Desi goes from this kind of cool guy to a really annoying guy, who has this kind of esoteric, artsy, I'm just a weary traveler, man. I'm here to experience the world, and I just want some good vibes, man. Like, it's this fake persona that he puts on almost.
I do worry about those kinds of things, because I'm exactly the kind of person that needs to know that none of my lines are faulty. You know, that I'm making everybody around me happy.
After this point, Desi begins to reveal more and more who he truly is. Insecure.
I'm a garbage person!
Kind of manipulative.
This is all for you. This is all for you.
No, Marnie.
This is all for you. Actually, all I have is a teensy tiny digest shell.
Self-loathing.
I can't even get this stupid tank top off.
Take your time. Take your time.
Manic.
Okay, but we are not Fleetwood Mac.
You should want to be Fleetwood Mac. You should want to be Fleetwood Mac. You should want that.
He switches on a dime between anxiety and depression.
I don't want to go get a scone with you this morning, and now I'm cruel? Oh, boy. You've got to be kidding me.
I want to die.
And as he becomes more unhinged, Marnie becomes less and less patient with him.
But he isn't talking to me right now because he's a child.
Poison berries on my bush.
Their relationship devolves into this on-again, off-again mess until it's revealed that Desi has been addicted to Oxycontin and loses his mind.
Bitches and let me in!
By the end of the series, Marnie and the rest of the characters are pretty much done with him.
I think we've all been down a time or two, you know. Not knowing.
Will you stop talking right now? Up, thank you.
Okay, guys.
Throughout this wild performance, Ebon manages to make Desi a genuine, three-dimensional douchebag who you have some empathy for because he's clearly suffering from some kind of mental illness, but it's all done with one foot in the world of broad comedy. This is a real dude that we've all known at some point, and look, they're usually fine. In small doses. Also, it's a testament to Ebon's talents that his character even stuck around. According to co-showrunner and writer Jenny Connor, Desi was kind of a cliche on the page and was only meant to appear for an episode or two. In an interview for GQ, she expands on this. But Ebon brought so much invention to Desi. He's truly one of the funniest people I've ever met, as funny as any comedy writer I've ever worked with. And he's also really easy on the eyes. It was a little bit like finding a unicorn. Other series' regular characters came and went. He played Micro, a former NSA agent who uses his tech hacking know-how to help Frank Castle exact vigilante justice in The Punisher.
I've been getting ready for you, Frank.
What does that mean?
What does that mean? It means that every missile needs a guidance system. Okay? Without me, you're just a blunt instrument.
He played Chris McQueen, a well-meaning blue-collar father struggling with alcoholism in Nosferatu.
I just got one piece of advice. Never get married. Never, ever have any kids.
And he went undercover with a ragtag team of rebels to pull off a heist against the Empire as Arvel Skeen in the Star Wars series Andor. I kind of fell off the Star Wars train a few years back, right around maybe the second season of Mandalorian, but I watched this for the first time recently, and it really is phenomenal. Just great writing, directing, acting across the board. As Skeen, Ebon really shines in this moment when he confides in Cassian Andor about the various Empire prisons and slave labor camps both men were forced to endure.
They built a lot of cages, huh? The axe forgets, but the tree remembers. Now it's our turn to do the chopping.
So that's it? That's why you're here? Revenge?
Yeah, that's good enough for now.
And spoiler alert, the heist sort of goes to plan, but not without casualties. And things take an even darker turn when Skeen reveals he wants to take the money from the heist and kill the remaining rebel group.
It's not a rebellion for you.
Oh, I'm a rebel. It's just, me against everybody else. You're not here to save anybody but yourself. I saw the first minute you came into camp. You're just like me. We were born in the hole, and all we know is climbing over somebody else to get out.
While Ebon was working on Andor, his agent sent him the script for The Bear. After an audition over Skype, screaming and cursing his way through a scene while his 5th grade daughter was in the middle of an online class for school,
Any of you incel, QAnon, 4chan, Snyder Cut motherfuckers want to get out of line now?
he got the part of Richie, a restaurant worker trying to keep a sandwich shop afloat, and who butts heads with Carmy, a brilliant chef who steps in to make drastic changes in an effort to turn the business around.
This is your brother's house, okay? Yeah? Remember? I was running it fine without you.
Why didn't he leave it to you then?
And even though they call themselves cousins,
Cousin!
they actually aren't.
Were you guys like related on your mom's side or like your dad's? Or...
Neither.
At first, Richie comes off as pretty obnoxious and stubborn. He's still doing coke deals on the side to raise money, he's resistant to Carmy's changes, and he especially butts heads with Sydney, the new young sous chef who he has zero respect for. But in between scenes of him just being a rude dick to her, we get a small glimpse at his humanity when he's, like, on the phone with his daughter, for example.
You're gonna do great. I promise. And if you don't, I'm gonna give you $500. But you're gonna do great.
In a 2022 interview for Entertainment Weekly, Ebon had this to say about Richie. Quote, "There are very clear reasons to me why Richie's acting the way he does. He's very, very lost and very, very sad, and fighting desperately to keep his place in the only home he really has. I mean, I think he's deeply insensitive to a lot of other people, but he has his back to the wall from before the show even starts. So when the stakes are like that, there's room to do anything. When you're fighting for your life, anything goes."
This is a delicate ecosystem! I don't need this right now. I really don't. I cannot emphasize enough how much I don't need this right now.
But you really feel for this guy. I mean, everybody else around him is just getting better as a result of all of Carmy's suggestions. But he's lost.
Yo, you ever think about purpose?
In the whirlwind of change around him, he feels like he's getting left behind.
You love all this. It's fun for you. I don't have that.
Ebon has also mentioned how much he just enjoys working on this show. He especially liked working on season 1, where everything was just chaotic in the kitchen, everybody's talking over one another, which kind of makes sense that he would like that. I mean, if he comes from a theater background, this all kind of feels like theater, especially the episode where it's literally all one take. Ebon also said that there was room for creative suggestions and a little bit of improv. In one scene, Sidney accidentally stabs him in the ass. In that same Entertainment Weekly interview, Ebon said, quote, "We came in one Wednesday morning at like 6 a.m., and I think we did it 4 or 5 times. And my reaction was fairly different every time. Sometimes it hurt a lot. Sometimes I was so angry with her. And the take that they used, I feel like Richie's like, oh, of course I got stabbed.
I got stabbed. Not right now. I got stabbed. Son of a...
And I'm glad they used that one because it just gives a sense of the true absurdity to it. Then came Season 2, which was unique in that it focused on individual characters' stories leading up to opening night of the rebranded restaurant, The Bear. Everyone goes on their own personal journey. Pastry chef Marcus is in Copenhagen learning from the best, and Carmy and Sidney, they're trying to piece together their menu while working out their own personal work relationship. But Richie's story seemed to have the biggest, dramatic, emotional impact on audiences. In Richie's episode, Forks, Carmy sends him to stage at a high-end restaurant for a week, where he ends up spending most of his time cleaning forks. He's pissed. He thinks he's above something like this.
I was annoying you, and you wanted me out of your hair.
What?
Yeah, you sent me
No.
cousin.
No. I sent you there.
You sent me there to humiliate me, you jack off.
Then this beautiful change begins to happen. He begins to understand what it means to create something special for other people. And when he's given a chance to work up front, he shines. A little aside here, but it's almost like every character involved in The Bear has their own special superpower. And over the course of the series, they all find their place. Well, it's been clear since the beginning what Richie can do. He's the people person, the charmer. He had it in Season 1. We got glimpses of this affable guy who knows everybody's name. Then when everything starts changing, it's like he kind of loses that. He loses confidence in himself. So when some diners mention in passing that they love some genuine Chicago deep dish pizza, he steps up. In a sequence that is thrilling, funny, and emotionally cathartic, Richie finds that superpower again, runs to the nearest pizza place, brings back a pie, and serves it with his own personal touch. It's like he was in the right place at the right time. He did something special for somebody. And from that moment on, the change in him is almost immediate.
I'm wearing a suit because it makes me feel better about myself.
On this episode, co-star Oliver Platt had this to say, quote, "Listen, I'm an old freaking hack, but it's so great to see somebody all of a sudden, in other people's eyes anyway, come into their own in their 40s. You've gotta love stories like that. It is truly one of my favorite episodes of television I've ever seen. I get emotional thinking about it and talking about it. And obviously I'm not alone here, seeing as how Ebon won a well-deserved Emmy for his performance."
Drive.
What am I doing? I don't know. I've been reading a lot of comics. It's kind of nice, just, you know.
So after all this, what's next? I mean, he's about to be a pretty big thing. Quite literally. He's been cast as Ben Grimm, aka The Thing in Marvel's The Fantastic Four. He has this gruff exterior, seems like a monster on the outside, but underneath it all, he's got a heart of gold. Well, that sounds familiar. What a perfect role for him.
Yeah, I'm playing Ben Grimm, who becomes the Thing, who's a man encased in rock. I know. I've just been looking at rocks, you know. Like.
In every interview I've read, Ebon makes it clear that he was always content with his place in the acting world. In a 2024 interview for GQ, he says, quote, "Now I get more things sent to me, and I have more of a chance to choose parts I want, but I always felt good about what I was doing and the place I was at. I'm good at being in the moment. The moment is all we have." So it seems as though Ebon has always been satisfied. I don't know about you guys, but satisfaction can sometimes feel elusive. In a lot of the interviews I've read and watched with Ebon, he seems to be at peace with the journey he's had and the roles he's been given. That might not always be the case for a lot of actors, you know, sometimes it's a struggle, and maybe you always want more and bigger things, and maybe you might not always be satisfied with your performance. But in Ebon's case, it seems like his cup has always been full. Now that he's gone to another level with The Bear, I bet his cup is still full. It's just a bigger cup.